Yeah, welcome back, folks. It's time to play a little more Skyshard and do a little more talking about the game. I mean, I made a game, I'm gonna want to talk about it, right? And it's been a crazy few days. We're basically like 3.5 days into the world of Skyshard since we announced it on Monday. And yeah, man, it has been crazy. It has been frenetic. I have just responded to a million comments everywhere, chatted with so many of you. We've gotten like crazy good feedback. I mean that like literally like a lot of people are being very positive, which is awesome, but also like, you know, a lot of things that we can improve and do better too, which frankly we've already implemented a lot. I was so pumped to see, like, you know, I don't know why, but there's something really cool about seeing my game's patch notes on Steam. Like, it just feels so professional and cool, and Ben made this nice little patch graphic and stuff, which is just like, as I tweeted, it kind of makes you feel like a grown-up for some reason. Like, it just feels so real and cool. But as you can see, yeah, we've already put out basically a patch a day. I think since the last video, this is actually a new patch since I recorded last time. We added some info to tooltips, so there's a little more clarity on what your units are doing. Oh yeah, we added some highlights basically, so it's easier to tell kind of what's adjacent. We added a nice little warning if you have items in your inventory, so you don't accidentally queue up too soon. We nerfed a couple things. There's a lot more nerfs in the next patches we're gonna see. Fixed a lot of little bugs, little annoying things. We fixed some big stuff too. There was some really big annoying bugs, like crashing people out, and I think we're gonna see in the next patch notes, added an entire compatibility mode. I don't know if that was which of these notes it was actually in, but basically people with weaker PCs, we added a compatibility mode so you can boot it up anyway. Oh, I clicked the same notes. I wondered why this looked the same. I was very confused. We added this change, which actually we're gonna change it again to make this better, so ignore this for now. Oh yeah, we added some tooltip bordering to make it a little more obvious what factions units are in. We changed our kind of soft matchmaking. We don't really have hard matchmaking. You're not like matched up specifically against people that are like, you know, exactly your rank. Number one, I don't know that we'd have enough people to make that satisfying anyway right now, but basically we have some like tiers. And before, it was like when we first launched, it was literally just if you were before a rank of 500, you played people in that bracket, and if you were over 500, you played people in that bracket. Honestly, at the beginning, Ben kind of wanted like a totally open matchmaking, and I was like pushing for like, no, we need some onboarding, you know, we need to like ease people into the system. If they get stomped a bunch early, you know, it's gonna be a problem. I think the goal was that perhaps, you know, like some natural filtering would happen, where it's like, you know, if there's a lot of new players at once, like, you know, they're gonna find a lot of other new builds and stuff, but it's still like one bad moment can be kind of backbreaking in those scenarios. So anyway, we've now got some like soft matchmaking ranks where if you're from 0 to 100, you're only gonna queue up against boards that are from players who are 0 to 100, or actually I guess were at the time of their board, which could technically still let you see some pretty tough boards if somebody was like really good and had a good run their first game or whatever. But that's okay. If you see one, like, that's a teaching moment as well. Like, you need to be able to see what's good in order to learn and get better. But then, you know, we have as you can see here, basically four brackets. This 500 plus is like currently a pretty deep range theoretically based on the current matchmaking numbers, but it seems like 850, 900, 1000 is kind of a soft limiter. Like, not a lot of people are pushing past 1000 the way that the matchmaking is currently structured. It's like pretty hard to keep going up forever because you start losing a lot of points for bad runs and not gaining that many points for great runs, which we don't want it to inflate forever, so there needs to be a mark. But we might have to like shift the ranks down a little bit based on the current structure anyway. But it seems like hitting 1000 is a pretty insane achievement. Even getting to like 750, 700 is a pretty insane achievement, so we may adjust that a little bit. But anyway, this is just an onboarding measure really to help people ease into the game and not get totally stomped, hopefully by, you know, my board who's been playing the game for months or whatever. In your first game, the best players their boards should filter out pretty quickly, because we only store the last 100 islands at any given time within a rank tier now. Like, so, you know, we're gonna basically store the last 100 islands from each round from each rank bracket. So like, you know, as soon as there are 100 islands on round 1 in the opening rank bracket, you're only going to see those. So all the good people from the beginning will have already moved out of that. Like, you won't be seeing their islands or anything. Like, my islands will be gone from all of these, you know, already. Probably I'm only going to have islands at 500 plus. So moving forward, it should make life a lot easier against new players. Like, when they're just learning things, you know, they're not going to get totally stomped. I think that's crazy important to give you time to kind of get into the system. Also probably just good because some people will naturally settle into these ranks, and then just like, this is the people they're going to play against, or, you know, equally skilled, which is good too. But with a pretty wide band of variance, hopefully, that there's still some highs and lows. You know, have good runs and bad runs. You don't want every run to be exactly the same. You want people to have runs where they go 14, 15 wins, and it's okay if there's some runs where they go 3 or 4 wins too, right? That's the fun of it. So we also just added a bunch of new art. And kind of some flavor changes a little bit, like the giant sunflower is now the sunrise flower. I wanted, and I'm like behind the flavor of these things, right? So I think too many of our nature units were just straight up just boring like trees and stuff. I think it's good to have some of those because it's good to have little baselines, and particularly like if you're building a town, having little trees and shrubs and stuff can kind of make it look pretty. But I also wanted some more magical influences in our nature items. So, you know, instead of just a sunflower, we made it this kind of magical sunrise flower. And there's some lore which you can't see in the game, you know, that like, you know, every morning it's, you know, the burst of light emanates from the sunrise flower to start the day or whatever, which conveys the start of combat flavor and mechanic kind of hookup there, because it's the start of combat cards. So having kind of a one-time thing, sunrise being a thing that happens once a day, right? Seemed like, okay, it happens once around as a start of combat effect. You start to try to give these little hints of mechanical connections to names and flavor and stuff and art, right? So that it's like all, you don't even notice it, you never think about it, but like hopefully your brain kind of just makes those little connections or whatever for you. So beyond that, I guess the micro librarian for novice units, we've kind of been trying to do like a kind of like Latin vibe to make them sound a little more elegant or fancy. I think some of those are still going to need some name reworks because they're just like hard to say or talk about or think. I think micro librarian's a totally fine one, by the way, but there are some I think we might want to tweak. But instead of just using like, you know, basic English terms, we're trying to fancy it up a little bit for novice units, but, you know, kind of still convey the idea. And then a lot of nerfs here. Well, not necessarily all nerfs, but balance changes. We obviously, you know, getting so much data and like so many insights because we just didn't have enough players before. So just kind of shifting a lot of weapons around. I think there was a really big imbalance, I told Ben, between high speed weapons, things that triggered really quickly, and things that triggered slowly. It felt like it's just so hard for the slow weapons to compete, even though they have bigger damage to compensate. You know, a lot of that big damage is basically overkilled on smaller units. You know, if you have 250 damage, you hit a 100 health tree, it's the same as a much faster weapon with 100 damage hitting a 100 health tree for most units, right? So just trying to find a level there, kind of bringing those speeds into a tighter range, perhaps, so that they feel a little more even. There's probably some other design angles around that you could work out too, but just trying to even the field a little bit on weapons. Now, and, you know, some weapons still have really interesting curves, so they're really good early game and fall off, and some are super weak early game and scale better with buffs and support and stuff. We like that. I think we want that to happen. You know, we want to have meaningful decisions. We don't want to just totally level the weapon playing field. So it's more about, you know, finding some kind of averages across the board, but still having some curves within those weapons so that there are strategic decisions to make. And, you know, you're still building in ways like, okay, I can support this weapon early, but I might need to find something to carry me later. That kind of thing starts to happen. So we'll see how these changes stick. I think there are some pretty dramatic changes here. I just sort of told Ben, like, it's just directionally, I think, where we should go. And then he implemented the changes as far as like the micro level decisions. My instincts would be probably to not make such big changes 6 months from now or a year from now. But I really like that he made big changes this early because we just need to see the impact, right? You have this risk if you just only ever make small changes. I can make this look prettier for you guys. If you only ever make small changes, it takes forever to kind of notice the impact. So it's like we need to learn fast They need to increment quickly at this stage of the game. Plus, you know, we have just like, you know, players who are not going to get mad at us right now if something ends up getting broken or totally bad because of a change. You know, people are supportive and awesome. So this is a good time for us to really rapidly iterate and learn. So big changes help you learn faster. It's like, okay, no, this was too much. So, you know, hopefully this is something we can kind of, you know, big changes now, and then as we go, make smaller changes with more confidence later, because we'll know how the impact goes. Big change to Crystal Core. We had this like crazy OTK meta in the game already with like Crystal Core stacking like wild. Basically, before I think the best way to describe this, as I understand it, is that it was kind of multiplicative and now it's additive. So, you know, before it would be like, if it was buffing 50%, it would go like the 50%. So let's say you have like 100 health unit, right? The 50% buff would apply and it would go to 150, because you'd go from 100 to 150 with a 50% buff. The next 50% buff would go from the 150, you know, and then it would just start like scaling like crazy. Now I think what we do instead, as I understand it, is like we're basically just stacking all the 50% buffs at the beginning and applying them at once, basically. So it's like, you know, instead of the percentages modifying the percentages, they're just always kind of modifying the base value. I'm not 100% sure that's the accurate description. Ben did it, he knows what's up. He did it, I'm sure, a smart way, but the goal anyway is to bring down the power level of Crystal Core. Also, wicked nerfed Replicator, although I think it might actually still be too good. This unit is just causing a lot of problems. This is one that I should describe what these things do, maybe. I'm probably assuming you guys have too much context. Many of you will, others of you will have no idea what I'm talking about. Maybe I should have made a note at the beginning of the video, but maybe you'll just go ahead and skip to the gameplay. Hopefully this is insightful either way. I'm realizing like some of you will have never played the game and have no clue what I'm talking about, but that's okay. If you're here, you're probably at least a little in. If not, I would point you to just go play the game and get some more context. But anyway, Replicator nerfed. Still keeping an eye on this one. It seems totally nuts. And then of course more bug fixes and couple actually really important changes. I think this is another one one of the few I told you so's I think I'll have for Ben ever, maybe. The one is I'm not like a bitter I told you so guy, but we did actually talk a lot how I feel like we need to give people a weapon early, guaranteed in some way, because it's really unsatisfying to have an island with no weapon where you're just sitting there helplessly for the first round or two. He made a compelling argument that, like, you know, you can usually find a weapon pretty reliably, and if you don't, you know, you usually only lose like 1 or 2 health. It's not that big a deal. For me, it was less about the kind of like competitive impact of that. Like, okay, yes, I only lose 1 or 2 health, like that's not crazy detrimental for my run. Sometimes that'll wash out and not even matter. It was more about like the feel of it, you know. You felt kind of helpless, or like the first few rounds were sort of boring almost, because there was none of that like race on the first few rounds. It was more about like, I'm just sitting here and I know I'm gonna die. The inevitability is boring. It's not fun. So you know, we talked a lot about just like having a kind of central keep on your island or something, that maybe that just always is there. So there's always some way to deal damage, right? So there's just some baseline. I also encourage, like, let's just give people a guaranteed weapon shop on the first round. You know, that's a way that if they want to, they can take a weapon. If they don't want to, they don't have to. We got a lot of that feedback in the Discord. For once, I was right. I'll take it. Rare win. And we're gonna give you a guaranteed weapon encounter at the start of the game. If you don't want a weapon early, there might be times it's wrong. Like if you see an awesome tier 5, you know, and you think, okay, I want to go for the big tree early. I see a tier 5 nature, I'm gonna go for tier 5 nature. That might be the right choice, right? It's not default smart to take a weapon on round 1, but I think a lot of people will. I didn't want to like totally remove that agency, as we were talking about this yesterday on what to do. So I think there's probably a good balance. Like, it's there if you want it. You can absolutely take it. You probably should. 97% of players should probably take it 99% of the time. But some really, you know, really talented players who know super awesome metas and can think about really good lines might decide not to do that. But I think it just increases the good feels early because you have a weapon, and you know, you're not guaranteed to get any specific weapon or anything. So there's still a lot of variance on how your run's going to unfold. We're not like limiting the run variance or whatever. But then also, this is a big change too. We already did this for tier 4 and 5 units, that as you purchased them, they became less likely to see any individual units, so that you couldn't just like hopefully stack up 47 crystal cores like I did in my announcement video, right? It still happened. It was still possible. We never take it to 0, but you know, it gets increasingly hard basically to find repeat units at tier 4 and 5. Now it's also for tier 2 and 3, because there are just so many people spamming the same units over and over again, and it felt like you could kind of force things a little too easily. And it also, like, we just want a little more diversity in what your towns look like, and we want you exploring different synergies throughout the course of a game, right? Maybe not being totally all in on one thing necessarily. So some power level things pulled out, some like variance increase, hopefully both improving the fun level here a little bit. It also just replicates what regular auto battlers do in a fully live PvP auto battler, like TFT or Hearthstone Battlegrounds, right? They have a shared item pool among all the players in a live lobby. And, you know, as one person buys Jinx or whatever in TFT, that Jinx is pulled out of the pool. The other guys can't get Jinx as easily, right? There's less Jinxes to go around. So this kind of simulates that in a way. I mean, that's not really the goal, but it is funny that you kind of land in the same space, probably for similar reasons. That one's probably more about making sure the lobby has diverse builds, but it's kind of the same for us, just making sure players are doing different things over time instead of forcing one thing. So anyway, these are big patches, dude. I'm really kind of proud and impressed with Ben, number one. He's like insane. He's just pumping stuff out. Daily patches is awesome. We talked a lot about this before launch, how you know, we felt like we could just do things really quickly. You know, so many games and companies making games, right? They're just so bogged down in like layers of management and multiple developers, and like, you know, sure, the things they're doing are often a higher level, more polish, more refinement, more perfection ahead of time, right? More planning. And like, yeah, we're not going to match that. Like, we're just not ever going to have that level of like polish or, you know, planning or foresight or whatever. But a lot of the times they still get it wrong anyway. Like, you know, they'll plan for 3 months on a feature and work on it for 3 months and still get it wrong. It's like, maybe it's okay to just work on it for a day or two and put it in and see how it goes, you know? And like, yeah, maybe things will suck sometimes, but we can either fix it or revert it, you know? Like a little more flexibility and openness, and like just, you know, quicker, like reactionary stuff instead of only just ever things that take forever. Like it, you know, there's positives and negatives to both. I'm not saying it's like a perfect system to just, you know, constantly implement stuff and fly by the seat of your pants. And I think as we get better, you know, we'll get a little more refined and a little more patient probably. But for now, especially when we're this early in and we're just trying to iterate quickly and like learn, I'm really excited we're just putting stuff into the game super fast. I'd like to retain that spirit, you know, with refinement, sure, with polish a little more, sure, but I want us to keep that spirit. I think that's different and good and fun. And like, you know, we like, somebody recommends something in Discord or talks about a feature, Ben has it coded in like 2 hours and it's in the game that night, you know? Like somebody talked about this thing, the borders of tooltips being more vibrant. Okay, sure, yeah, I like that. That's great. Let's put it in the game, and it's in the game, you know? It's a good suggestion. We like it. Let's put it in, you know? Like it's that, so I don't know. It's easy to say that now. I'm sure some things will backfire eventually, but for now, I really like that we can do that. I think that's cool and a really fun place to be in. And it's only possible because we're such a small team. And, you know, we also just like have full agency. Like, you know, we're not asking each other for permission all the time. It's like, yeah, dude, do it. It's your thing, you know? So yeah. It's that's all the patches so far. I think we'll have another big one tonight. I know Ben's been working on stuff all day, so might be announced by the time I finish this. He's working on like shadows right now, I think. I don't think we meant to do it now, but he just got excited about it. So like units having little drop shadows so they sit in the space a little better. Anyway, we're gonna go through a run, guys. We're gonna go through a run and see how it goes. And here is that guaranteed weapon shop. Speaking of, dude, let's take that guaranteed weapon shop. I think the Chameleontis here is probably the most like neutrally useful weapon there that doesn't need a ton of support. Early production, I'll totally take. Geronimo's probably gets us the most total value. This thing used to be able to generate tier 4 units as well, which is wild. Oh, nice, dude. Nice. Chameleont is holding it down, dude. Yes. Ooh, Arborist early. Okay, so we're stacking up production here, basically. Production on production, dude. But almost... This can snowball pretty hard. In a weird way, I could almost write, you know, here, generate a random non-production utility unit. But I don't know about that. By the way, here's the new border colors. I don't know if you guys can see this. Nature's now green. Basic is now gray. Novus is now blue, which I don't know if blue's the right choice there, but it's fine for now. It's good. Another production shop? Do we go for it again? Yes, we do. Crystal mines? Maybe we could test out how the new crystal core feels. Take a crystal mine. I mean, crystals are generally good anyway, I think. Let's get a defense here to protect our chameleontists. Probably like the mushroom mender best to start. Like voodoo totem... It's less defensive, but more, you know, counter aggression. But I like the Mender. I just think this art's cute, honestly. Like, for whatever reason, this is like my favorite piece of art we have. I don't know why. It's just really makes me happy to look at it, and I can't explain why. It's like, I don't know, because I think it's because it's got like cartoony vibes, but it's actually maybe not that cartoony in a weird way. I don't know. It's like, you know, we have line work in our art, so it's like always a little cartoony-esque, but it also, I don't know, it still has like texture and detail and like, you know, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I like that particular piece of art a lot for whatever reason. So. All right, let's see. Jazzamon. Ooh, high rating, scary. Tesla coil's gonna fall off though here, and we'll win, right? As long as it survives, which it will. Nice, yeah. Mushroom Mender holding on to. Good stuff. Some good early wins. I think these early wins are actually pretty darn important, honestly. Man, look at all this stuff we're getting. This is insane. I'm going to take maybe one more defense shop. Tier 5 defense. Oh, I think I like Prismatic Mirror better. Brick by Bricks, actually probably not too bad already. We have 15 tags already? Are you serious? No, that's insane already. Oh, I'm going to take that then. See, that's the change we just made, by the way. This used to not tell you how many tags you had, so you just kind of had to guess, and it sucked. So good, of course, easy, obvious change. That's just a straight win. Town unit for this power line might be nice. New librarium art. I think this is reading a little too small, which is funny because it's called the micro librarium, so it does, like, the fact that it's small is sort of appropriate, I guess. But that's not actually what it's meant to convey. It's meant to convey that the books inside of it are small, not that the library itself is small. Like, I don't think we're ever gonna have 100% perfect scale on our art. Like, it's just really hard. Also, like, sometimes we might just like change the size of units for balance reasons or whatever. So it's kind of hard to guarantee, but like this one reads just a little bit small compared to like Botanist next to it or whatever. It's almost like you could make this a kind of a I don't know. Well, you wouldn't make it a 2x4, but I don't know. It's fine. I'm nitpicking a little bit because I think it's pretty cool. There's a little lore I shared in Discord on this. It's like a microscope that's used to read tiny books. So it's a tiny library, but it stores endless knowledge. We're gonna get owned by these weapons, right? This is brutal, dude. Gabrielle, man, what the heck, dog? You got 4 weapons already. And they all have real art now. Cool. Everything on your board has real art, actually. Spicy. Looking good, dude. I think we're gonna outscale on value. I mean, they bought a lot of stuff. We bought a lot of value, so we're gonna catch up on this soon. Adjacent town becomes magic. Adjacent magic units become town. We actually don't want these town becoming magic because then they won't be affected by the power line, which increases the speed of town. By the way, guys, please feel free to drop feedback if I'm going too fast. I probably am. It's just that my brain is like, you know, so consumed by all of this. I know, well, I don't know everything perfectly, but I know a lot of stuff about the game, and I'm trying to share almost more insights or thoughts often, or, you know, overall kind of strategies than talking about the individual units and what they do. I'm trying to click stuff so that you can read it, but I'm hoping some of you have context. If you don't, my apologies. I would again encourage you to just go download the game and try to get a little more context, come back. But I will also try to be better to make sure I'm kind of, if not literally reading cards, at least kind of explaining what they do beyond just like defense or weapon or whatever. Let's go for a big shop here. We can kind of go anywhere with this build right now. I don't feel like we're doing anything special or good. Oh, new altering stone art, new watchtower art. We're gonna add drop shadows, by the way, guys, today. I was just talking about that. Like, mechanic art, one of my favorites. We got some town angles. You could go for speedy town with watchtower. Mechanic is actually usually a very powerful unit, but currently no tinker to go with it. Altering stone, I find this unit really hard to use. I don't know. I think we need to take a look at, like, it's probably actually good. I just haven't like mapped it out yet is my problem. I'm gonna take the tinker just because I think the mechanic can do a lot. If we get a good powerful tinker unit of some kind. Another production shop, is it too early? Yeah, it would be cool, but it might be too early. Tinker, a big tinker, if you go for, I mean, this is pretty good with weapon, laser pointer, maybe not quite as good with Tesla coil. Supercharger is really nice with brick by brick as a start of combat enabler. The toy store is really not good on its own. It's, I think, often better as a triggering enabler where you know, use the speed of the units to get a lot of cool trigger stuff. I guess we take the Tesla coil for now. We don't really have great enablers for it, so I'm not sure it's going to be great just yet, but crystal mines can help by giving it some rubies. That's at least a start. Yeah, this is moderately useful for our like, we have fast attacking weapons mostly, like the Tesla coil in particular is very fast. The strongest unit though. I mean, ritualist, we could try to like debuff the opponent a bit. I don't know, I guess I'll take this. It's not really that good. I also think currently blacksmith's a little bit of a flavor miss almost. Like I feel like it should buff weapons, you know, not buff health, because like I mean, I guess blacksmiths do make armor as well though, if I make that argument. Like, maybe he's making shielding for the town. I don't know. I guess you can kind of make anything good if you try, can't you? Oh, another just pile of weapons here thanks to the portal. Uh-oh. I don't know, maybe not though. Can our defenses hold? No. No, they can't. Oh, it's really close though. Oh my god, it's really close. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. No, it's so close. 36 health. I actually really like when we have close fights. I think that's a good sign for like that's good, right? Like, I like that. I don't want too many blowouts. Tough though, dude. Like, yeah, you only lose 1 health, but you also lose a win, so that hurts. Big shop here, I'm still looking for something to like really define where we're going. Okay, Tether 2000 can do that. That can make our Tesla coil much more powerful. I will say that this is probably not the best weapon for that purpose, but it is at least, because it doesn't have a high base damage or anything. But it is a start. It is a start. And we can take this research facility to potentially get some nice enchantments on our 2 weapons. That can help. Nature shop, now that we have a way to scale this damage indefinitely, we do care a little bit more about survivability, probably, because if we extend the length of the fight, it's more time for the Tesla coil to scale up and continue to do more damage. So, ooh, we also have the crystal core though. I gotta take that. We got the crystal mine. I can't pass it up. I wanted to try the new crystal core anyway, so this is a good opportunity maybe to see if it still feels good. I mean, it still sets the unstable Tesla coil damage pretty high, pretty fast, which is really nice. These soul slingers though, are we gonna get there? I think we're gonna hold right. Yeah, nice, good stuff. Good stuff. It's a high ranked opponent, by the way. Did that say enchanter? Isn't enchanter a crazy high rank? What is enchanter at? Yeah, that's high, dude. Yeah, they're top 5 on the leaderboard, I guess, huh? Or at the time they probably were anyway. Where's the guy who used to be over 1,000? Didn't Joe Chuck used to be over 1,000? He's missing. What happened? Somebody was over 1,000, I thought. Was it Joe? Oh, maybe he lost a lot. There's no way he lost that much though. Like, I don't remember who it was. I don't think it was Dr. Midnight. I'm barely hanging on to the top 10, by the way, guys. I gotta play more or lose less. By the way, a lot of people in the 500s. That's actually awesome, dude. Really cool. I think right now I was looking at the like Steam kind of charts for like how long people are playing and stuff. It's kind of exactly what you'd expect, right? Like, quite a few people don't really play that much, and it kind of tapers down, and then, you know, flat base of people who play a you know, quite a bit, and then it actually rises at the end again, which there's a lot of people who've played a lot, which that's, I think, actually a really good sign. I would like to lower the people who don't play much. I think, you know, inevitably though, people are checking out a demo, it's not done, like, you know, they just want to see what it's like. Maybe they kind of like it, but they're waiting for it to be finished. Maybe they hate it, right? There's a mix, I'm sure. So I'm not sad that some people are quitting after like literally 10 or 15 minutes or whatever. But I really like that there's enough depth that people have already been playing for hours and hours and hours. I think that's a really good sign. It's just about, you know, shifting that curve to that line so that we're making sure people are having fun. You know, we actually don't. It's funny, like a lot of games desperately need that long-term engagement because they're trying to sell you stuff and they need you engaged to sell you stuff. We actually don't like need that. Like technically once you've bought the game, you know, we kind of got our money. We're not trying to sell you more stuff, but of course it's just an honest reason to want people to engage because you want them to have fun with your game. And that actually still helps you because then they tell more people about your game and they stream your game longer. And like, you know, it's this natural feedback loop instead of this like greedy feedback loop where it's like, yeah, we really want people to be having fun playing the game a lot because it just has these natural knock-on effects that start to benefit us, you know. But it's not to sell you more things. Like, you know, technically if you come in and buy the game and then leave after 10 minutes, I guess refunds are a thing, but like, technically, right, that wouldn't be a problem, but it would make us very sad. We just want you to have fun. Can we get another crystal core? We can. All right, I'm taking it. Yeah. Now I actually don't really have enough crystals, right? Like I kind of need more crystals. We could go for some. Crystal mine is, by the way, a tier 3. I think we should call this tier, by the way, instead of rarity now that I think about it. I always say tier anyway, and I don't know that rarity is really the right term because you always have shops that are equal distributions, right? I don't think it is the right term. I think tier is actually the right term. Anyway, we'll figure that out. Yeah, defense again is still valuable to us for sure. We said holding it down for the put these next to the crystals so the crystals give that nice health buff. We can, by the way, see now, like, look, we have 2 crystals that each give 50 health. This is starting at 600. We can check to see what the crystal cores do. By God, I hope it makes sense. Yeah, now it's 800, right? So yes, okay. Well, hold up. Does that sound right? They give a 50%. So we gained. Okay, so oh yeah, these each give 100 because they gave an extra 25 and an extra 25. It says on here, thank God, gives adjacent units 100 health. We need to drop those decimals, but yeah, so that makes sense. 25 is 50% of 50. So they each give 100. That means the stone wall got 200, 100 from each of these. Yeah, so it's just it's more linear now, of course, which I think is still pretty powerful. So yeah, like these each give 6 damage, which jumps us to 31 quickly. This, by the way, got some fantastic. These are 2 great random enchantments for that to get. It's gonna be crazy fast. Don't die too quick. Don't die too quick. That rocket sniped our tether, which hurt. It's also gonna lose damage now, but hopefully, oh man, these trees though. These trees are killing us, dog. So many random trees, dude. No. Down to 9, guys. We're dying. We're dying. Refractor. What tags do we have the most of? Structure, utility, nature, and rarity 1. Anything I can do with making things nature? I think so, right? Like if I got enough tinker, I could make something tinker and then like make the mechanic trigger off of it. There's something cool there, maybe. Think anything really that cool though? Here, by the way. Yeah, I almost need to just sell these. Maybe these are both kind of hard to use, to be honest. Structure shop, nah. Might be okay. There's a lot of good defense in structure, but I feel like I still kind of need a bigger weapon, like a higher base damage weapon to scale the Chameleonthus. Power plant is also actually pretty cool now though, because what we could do is do a power plant build with mechanic as our only town that triggers. Like right now, if I take Micro Librarium out of the pool, then this is always going to give the mechanic extra speed, which is always going to trigger the Tesla coil or the tether, which is going to help scale these up really fast, hopefully. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. This might be good for a start of combat on the crystal cores. Nice, supercharger crystal cores. Okay, so now we can actually also put these crystal cores next to the supercharger that's next to the brick by brick, which also has a start of combat effect. Like this is always like a nice little, you know, like just keep an eye out on positioning basically, right? Like there's always opportunities. Oh, there was that warning. You still have units in your inventory. Yeah. Yeah, this is good. Like this is actually pretty nice. Yeah. Hopefully that we get a lot of health here. Yeah, 1900 health, 1200 health now on this is insane. Yeah, the start of combat scaling us up nicely already. Is this gonna stay alive though to kill anybody? It's not getting enough damage fast enough. Oh no, we're gonna lose again. We're almost dead, guys. Oh no, wizard, no. Oh, we have like, oh, we're not generating enough value fast enough. Now, there's a bug right now, guys. Like I couldn't click that mill. If you just take some, we got the pink shrub, and I missed it. Oh. There's a super, I didn't even know it was in the game, but there's a super rare pink shrub. Like if you guys didn't notice, every time you move a shrub or tree, we pick a random art so that, you know, if there's a bunch of shrubs and trees next to each other, there's like a little more, you know, visual diversity. Like this one has twigs. There's ones with pink flowers, but if you caught a glimpse of it there for half a second, we got the ultra rare pink shrub. I didn't even know it was in the game. We joked about it, but Ben actually did it, the mad lad. There's a crazy rare pink shrub. I don't know how rare it is. I floated at 1 out of 1,000. So like every 1,000 times you place the pink, you place a shrub, you get a chance at the pink shrub. But I don't know what the actual number is. Has anybody else seen a pink shrub? Dude, it's a legendary day to get the pink shrub. That's sick. What on earth are we looking for? Some guaranteed enchantments maybe that help. Maybe I put this accelerate on the tether because we need, I feel like I need still more damage scaling on the coil, and then maybe we give this the nature so it can fire through trees and stuff way better. Big shop, I kind of want a big weapon here. Not a big weapon. Proliferator's a decent defensive unit. Leecher, I don't think is worth it. Cursed Bell, we do have a lot of little stuff that the bell could trigger some big stuns on, like all these little trees and stuff. You like Proliferator better? I feel like Cursed Bell is probably more helpful, honestly. Let's move this tree here. Get a full set. Oh, transmute, nice. That's so sick, actually. That's exactly what we needed. Oh my god. I don't really care about the town hall. I'm gonna sell it, I think. I really just care about these two, right? Nature 3. Crystal Mine's not nature, it's basic. These are tier 4, so they're not there. Maybe just another defense here. Ooh, inverters is big free points, man. Let's go. We can move these down, make space for the inverter so that he's next to some of the emeralds. Actually, probably prefer this emerald here in that case to get it next to the inverter as well. Tier 3 nature, more defense potentially. Go Rafflesia on the mushroom mender. This gaining extra health when this hits. So really good with the stones again as well. Can we put that there? Yeah. Okay, hold up. We can do this. Put this here so that it's touching that. So it's adjacent. This gets extra health from stones and otherwise. In fact, you could do, well, since this is a non-percentage modifier, I guess it's better on the Rafflesia, right, than the inverter. It's just a straight health buff, not a percentage buff. Yeah, that's probably better. Okay, housing market. Yeah, we can do this. So these are the only two town units that are triggering and getting speed off the power plant. That's buffing weapons to get the Tesla coil scaled up. This is buffing weapons. Now, I have noticed rockets have been countering us quite a bit because of this stupid research facility. I don't know if you guys picked up on that. Like, the research facility keeps getting targeted by rockets, which then kill the Tether 2000, which then limit my damage. If I wanted to play around rockets, I could just get rid of this research facility, right? Like, I could just drop it wherever. It doesn't matter. I mean, I could put it here, I guess. But that might cause the same problem with rockets. Right now, rockets target the biggest things. They target brick by brick, inverter, and research facility because they're all 6 total squares, right? They don't target weapons, so Tesla would be safe. Then they'd move to like mechanic and these defense units. Bell. Actually, this is also 3x2. So I don't know, dude. I added some good. Wait, didn't I add? Oh no, I gave that to Tether. I added some good enchantments anyway. Maybe we just like do it here, actually. Like, I don't know, or maybe even here. Maybe try to hit these defense units a little bit, and then you can kind of toss these in as well, I guess, just for freebies. Occasional health gain might make a small difference or whatever. Yeah, and again, I'm leaving this in my inventory intentionally so that the power plant always hits these 2 town units, so that the mill here also triggers this unit. So either way, we're increasing the speed of the mechanic, and when the mechanic is high speed, that's going to trigger a tinker unit, which is currently only the Tether 2000 and the unstable Tesla coil, which means we either get more damage on our Tesla coil or we activate the Tesla coil for an extra attack. So basically we're creating this kind of chain by narrowing our targets. Could also sell this. I don't know, I think I used all my sales last time, but like, I think we're going to finally turn the corner here. We've only got 3 wins somehow, even though this run's not felt bad, but I think we're finally getting into an end game state. The problem is our build is a little honest. There are probably still some cheese builds that might do mean things to us, but as you saw here, like, yeah, okay, good stuff. I'm not only going to upload like crazy big wins either, you know. I think there's still a lot to learn from losses, and exactly what we'll showcase, right? Some losses as well. Probably still better here for defense. Gym, that's another town unit we really don't want, so maybe we look for a sale. I think at this stage we're looking for good defensive stuff. Pillar could actually be pretty interesting because of the supercharger, but from a positioning standpoint, we might have to really make some changes. This also is not guaranteed to give us defense in any way, shape, or form, but it certainly can. Pillar. Compound knowledge is not very good for us. Oh my god, I think we're just taking a supercharger down. Yeah, I think we're taking a supercharger. Yeah, I think we're taking a supercharger. Yeah. Random champ, I guess we go for ancient, but I don't love it. Yeah, obelisk is actually kind of cool on stuff like these because it's just free, you know, like it's only 50 health, 140 health, whatever. It's not a ton of damage, but it's kind of free. It's not the thing I would have loved. I wouldn't have like picked it out of nowhere. I really never got that other big weapon, by the way. The chameleon's just not good with Tether 2000. Like we wanted a big rocket or something. Oh no, this is a fatigue build. Can the Tesla coil shred this fast enough? It's it doesn't have like a tree yet, so I don't think it's that scary yet. Yeah, Tesla coil's melting it. Tesla coil seems pretty good at this. I love this build, by the way. This is very cool. Very cool. That Rafflesia though, how big did this get, dude? Dog, whoa, it scared me for a second, dude. How big did that get? Enemy health gained. It gained 11,829 health. That's insane. I really like that build. So they were probably trying to build into that. That's really cool. They were using corrupt shamans and botanists and beekeepers to just dump all of their healing into the Rafflesia. That's really, really cool. Glowberries as well. Oh, they had that one weapon. Yeah, glowberries. That's really cool. That was an awesome build. I mean, our Tesla coil though, as we saw here, is just farming. Like the extra hits on the rubies is going a long way. The chaining on the tether, like we said, is going a long way. 214 damage is really, really nice. So imagine if this was a good weapon, dude. Can I get a good freaking weapon? Even a laser pointer would probably be good. It would technically, you know, eat into some of the mechanic hits, but it's a good target anyway. Like maybe we go here for laser pointer. Second tether though is also probably fine. I think that's an issue. These here probably so they impact the tethers. In fact, this crystal should have been here the whole time, so it impacts the tether, right? Yeah, 100% true. We got good spots for these guys, but I guess here is better. These two spots, yeah. Another tree, sure, and Jeffrey. Yeah, we just want to stick to what we have for town, I think. Nature shop here. Probably not worth it. I think we go big shop, right? Probably better hits here on big shop. Yeah, mirror is pretty chill. Just more defense, more time for oil to do its thing, I think, and then we just chill until we hit a transmute, I guess. Yeah, we're not bad, dude. 5 wins here, -18. Like, this is not the worst run I've ever had. 10 rounds deep. I think it'd be fun, by the way, to do a little like game. We could do it on social or whatever too, like, or just in videos. Like, take your bets. Who's gonna win this board? You know, like who's gonna win? It doesn't look scary at first glance. Like they have a root of life build with like town units gaining a lot of health. The Rafflesia is getting big, but there's not that many town units. I'm not that worried about that. What I am worried about a little bit is this Myria the Curse Binder with these bakeries. So they're basically going to take control of my weapons and start triggering my weapons. And it's not going to happen too often after that, but pretty often still, honestly. Pretty often. This Eternal Bonfire, I don't know, dude. This is I'm not feeling good about this, to be honest. I'm not feeling good. We need to burn through this quick. which I guess Tesla Coil's decent at, but it's got to be quick. Oh, it's not decent. All my stuff got destroyed immediately, and we only have 12 damage. Oh no, I mean this does feed back in, but it's dead. It's just dying. Nope, we lose hard, dude. We got murdered. Absolutely, there's no way we have enough health to survive here. There's just no chance, right? They have way more health than us because they've got the root scaling. I mean, we are hanging into fatigue for a long time, by the way. Like, we actually made it into fatigue for a long time. Yeah, we sort of got OTK'd by Miria. This has actually been a thing for a long time. I think we still need to kill it, probably. I mean, in general, I think we had, particularly day 1 and 2, like way too much OTK. Just like instant kills everywhere. You also don't want to go too far the other direction where things just live forever. But, you know, a nice middle ground where fights take a reasonable amount of time. Generally end, you know, maybe a little before fatigue or like shortly thereafter, right? Somewhere in that window is probably ideal in my mind. Everybody might have their own preferences, but definitely not like insta wipes like we had day 1. That was just awful. So I'd rather lose like this where it's a little bit more, you know, protracted. But I still think this basically, the bakery in particular, as a way to just take instant triggers on stuff like Miria that normally has a really long cooldown, right? Basically circumventing that cooldown and then like taking away weapons, which I actually need to ask Ben this. When Miria takes over a weapon, you know, weapons generally target the closest thing. It looked to me like Miria took over and our Tesla coil or whatever it was immediately destroyed our crystals and our like tethers. And I guess it was probably a Tesla coil. I don't know, probably did both actually, but it looked like all the stuff, and they like damaged the weapons too. It looked to me like all of the weapons attacked the things closest to them. It might be nice maybe if Miria, when it took over a weapon, it attacked a random target instead. And the text actually kind of implies that. It does say to attack one of its allies, which kind of makes it sound like, you know, it's just attacking something at random, because otherwise you wouldn't need to specify. If it followed the normal game rules and it just attacked the closest thing, that's just assumed by default. Like, you by default you could just say force an enemy weapon to attack, and you would kind of assume that it attacked, right? So I wonder if that's something we need to look at. I'm gonna actually take a note about Miria. I mean, we talked about Miria a little bit yesterday anyway, as one of the dangerous start of turn effects in Discord you guys might have seen, but, or, you know, dangerously enabled by start of turn effects. I'm gonna make a note about Miria targeting now, by the way. But yeah, guys, that's our run, dude. That's it. I don't know how many people know you can hit spacebar and like see this, by the way. It shows all the enchantments if you wanted a glimpse, so you can see like your opponent cheesing enchantments or whatever. Got some random enchantments from somewhere, right? Like, what are all these? Like, why are there trees on this? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, gem, yeah, oh, gems, yeah. Anyway, that's the run, guys. Not the best run. We lost 18 points, though. Not the worst, you know. We got some wins. We got to round 10. Had some fun, I think. Basically, never found a second weapon really to enable that Tesla better with the tether, but also, I'd say we just maybe didn't see as powerful of a spike from crystal core as we did before, which probably good news. Still competitive. You know, if we'd had a little better build around it, I think the crystal cores would have felt competitive. They would have felt like a thing to go for, but not that crazy instant win like we saw in the past. This build probably would have destroyed everything yesterday before the patch, but today just reasonable, right? Just a reasonable thing, and we'll see where those power levels all fall, but pretty good stuff. So yeah, hopefully, again, you enjoyed some insights here. I appreciate you guys like checking out this channel, by the way. My video yesterday had like, I think it's almost got like 1,000 views or something. Or not yesterday, day before yesterday, I guess. But almost 1,000 subscribers and like 1,000 views on the first video is pretty sick, actually. That's really cool. Yeah, it's at 965 views, dude. That's insane. It's really, really cool. In fact, it's like spiking right now. I had a little spike this morning where I got 100 views an hour. Look at this. This is crazy. What happened? YouTube's like, hey man, people love Skyshard. You gotta show it to people. Look at that. It apparently didn't go too well because they're like, nope, actually, let's no, let's bring it back down. They didn't like it that much. We tried, Regis. We tried, but still, you don't see like charts like this on my normal channels. Normally, it starts at its peak and then just constantly goes down forever, right? This isn't interesting as it's trying to find a level here. Interesting little marker. Maybe I do have to be really careful about explaining things to people because seems like maybe some new people might even be finding this outside of the context of the game. So trying try to be mindful of that next time around, but we're getting better, we're learning. So anyway, thanks for joining me. Share your thoughts down below, tips, suggestions, feedback, endless praise. We'll take it all. Love you guys a ton. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I guess I will see you around.